This is a standard Minecraft block, and this is a block 32 times smaller than its usual size. Part of Minecraft's charm is its simplicity, but just imagine if the structures you see on your Minecraft adventures were generated with these miniature blocks, adding crazy amounts of detail at a realistic scale. Well, I'm taking on the enormous task of building with these tiny blocks to single-handedly transform Minecraft in insane detail, starting with an entire village. And the best part, it's all in a survival world downloadable from my Patreon. So subscribe to the channel and I'll complete this village and release the first download. First things first, I had to go out exploring to find the perfect Minecraft village for a hyper-detailed revamp. So I set out on my quest to find a worthy seed. Now these seeds were all awesome, but something was missing. I wanted to challenge myself to transform more buildings, but in a village that still felt like classic Minecraft. So I instead handpicked a bunch of houses to create the perfect canvas for this insane transformation, mimicking the kind of village layout you'd typically find in-game. Once I'd got the vanilla village ready, I did lots of research and planned how I'd make these blocky buildings look as detailed as possible, interiors included. And with my planning done, it was time to get to work. Okay guys, so this is the shell of our first insanely detailed house, and this is just the most basic one. Obviously, we're missing a few essentials right now, like, the door, but things are coming along. As you can see, I've etched into the original cobblestone foundations, and even did a little hand painting to improve the texture. And guys, painting tiny pixels at 1/32 the size of an ordinary block is super fiddly. I even had to buy a monster monitor to save my eyes. Anyway, you can also see I've transformed Minecraft's oak planks into actual planks for the walls. Each and every wall now has these overlapping wood slats instead of just a flat texture without any 3D detail. And of course, I added this sloping wood planked roof, which honestly, I would have loved to have changed to a different material, but we're staying as true as possible to Minecraft here. If I'm honest, it was quite a challenge to get right, especially working with precise angles and such tiny blocks for the beams. I think it looks miles better than the stairs from the original house, and the log supports were definitely worth straining my eyes over. I also broke the golden rule of Minecraft and built circles. But in all seriousness guys, logs are in fact round, so I had to make these big old log supports round too, and it made such a difference. So, my next job is to finalize this exterior, adding even more tiny details. And if you're looking for a game with attention to detail right at your fingertips, then you're bound to love today's sponsor, the legendary Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a free mobile game with awesome graphics, customization, and millions of players. And I've got some top tips on how you can become a master at it. Tip 1, get your starter champ to level 60. They can carry your team to higher levels and get you through those tricky campaign battles. Tip 2, join a clan to unlock tons of new features, plus the clan boss drops some of the best loot in the game. Tip 3, upgrade. Upgraded artifacts give your champions some sweet stat boosts, but use your skill tomes carefully. Save the rarer ones for your rarest champions to make the most of them. Personally, I love that Raid has all of these game mechanics to think about, and I always find myself with plenty of challenges to take on. Raid also runs tons of special events. Between February and March 14th, new players can take on the Raid Love Quest. Just download Raid using the description link, copy your player ID, and enter it at raidlovequest.plarium.com. Play one of the Valentine's themed minigames, and you could win in-game prizes or even real-life prizes worth up to $1,000. And if you're an old Raid player, the promo code STValentine23 will unlock a small Valentine's gift just for you. So if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click the link in the description or scan my QR code on the screen. You'll get unique bonuses worth $30, including free epic champion Chonaru and other useful stuff for your adventures. Right guys, now we're really getting somewhere. This exterior is looking insane, and I still can't believe this is going to be the most basic building in the whole village. We're not even at a specific villager profession building yet. Part of me wanted to actually redesign the building and add the craziest detail possible, as I'm so used to designing my own buildings with Steph. But for this, I've stuck to the canvas Minecraft's given me to work with, and the results are actually kind of surreal. Seeing a Minecraft house like this almost makes me feel like I'm in an entirely different game. Now you might have noticed that our door has had a revamp, and the best part is, it actually functions like a normal Minecraft door, which is one of my favourite features of the Little Tiles mod. To lead up to the door, I built these little steps, which are definitely a much more realistic size than the original stairs, and the handrail makes it feel even more real. You can also see I got carried away with all the decorative details as usual. I hand built my own tiny poppies and tulips to fill up my custom flower bed, which is quite different to the original, because the oak trapdoors don't really make sense with their holes. There'd be dirt absolutely everywhere if Minecraft had real physics. As well as the flower beds, I even redesigned Minecraft's torch to make this flaming sconce, which I can just imagine hanging in a little medieval village. It's a tad dimmer than a regular torch, but it's gonna look great around the village amongst all the other decorations I've got planned. And out the back, I made some big changes to the window. Rather than just a basic glass square, we've got a ton of detail now. I added a frame and even working shutters, so you don't have to worry about zombies peeking in at you during the night. Anyway, let's keep going and quickly whip up an interior to finish off this house. So, here's the finished interior. This is a pretty small house, so there wasn't much for me to do inside, especially since I'm not deviating too far from the original. I built a much more detailed bed, and I guess the villager who lives here was too busy to make it. I made a big upgrade to the table that was here previously, which was just an upside down stair block, even adding a new plant and a little glass sitting on top. So with the first house finished, it's time to ramp things up and start our first profession-based building, the Fisherman. So this is the basic shell for our Fisherman's house. Now obviously we're in 1.12, as Little Tiles hasn't been updated to the latest version yet, and I prefer it to chisel in bits because there are more tools and functions to play with. So because of that, villager professions work a little differently, but I can still spawn in certain profession villagers using commands. Anyway, as you can see, I transformed the cobblestone exterior in a similar way to the foundations from the first house, and I was even able to use the same framework as well, since they're the same size. But I wanted to start adding details that really make sense for each building's purpose. So I extended the roof and added this sort of pergola area, so I have some space to build a little fishing deck for our fishermen. Sadly, I couldn't run these beams down into the water due to the water physics in this version of the game, but this is still going to be an awesome fishing area. So let's finish it up. Right, now this really doesn't feel like Minecraft anymore, and every tiny detail you see here has been built block by block. This villager has a sweet fishing setup here on a little custom deck. I built this little stool, a custom fishing rod, and also created this barrel design to replace Minecraft's original barrel block. Again, I've actually made this barrel animate, and you can even store things inside of it as well. So I scattered these around the house to decorate. And as you can see, I've added a hanging wire and a drying rack for the fisherman to hang up all of his fish on. And just as a precaution, I even built this little lifebuoy ring, just in case a villager falls into the pond and can't swim. Heading inside, the original interior was extremely simple, so I've not deviated from that too much. I basically just used some of the decorations that I made to give it a little bit more life. So that's our fisherman's house. But now I think it's time to ramp up the detail even further. So let's get started with the armorer. Now this is definitely my favourite building so far, and it's not even finished yet. Obviously I changed things up a little by keeping the walls open, but this just makes so much sense for the armourer. I created this thick beamed framework to house our furnace and later, the armourer's workshop. On the framework, you can see I've added these small metal details with various functions, and I love how the stone slabbed floor turned out. It's a bit of a different take on the cobblestone floor that was here before, but it looks so satisfying and definitely makes sense for the building's purpose. And obviously, the main feature of this building is the furnace. But since the Armourer's Profession block is a blast furnace, which isn't actually available in 1.12, I just went ahead and made my own. I adapted the original chimney and built this special furnace, which once again actually functions. I even used some command block magic to keep its fire roaring, and if you click in the flames, you can use it like an actual furnace. I'm loving these little details so far, so let's add those extra details that will elevate this build to the next level. Okay, so now this building is looking insanely detailed. I nabbed the flaming torches we transformed earlier, which really makes this building feel even more real. And of course, since this is the Armourer after all, I've added a shield at the front of the building so that all of the villagers know where to go for their shields and armour. Inside, I've added workbenches with tools, and even some iron ingots fresh from the blast furnace. And my absolute favourite features so far are these custom helmets I've made. On such a small scale with no access to tools like WeldEdit, this was super fiddly, but look how cool these look. We've got this medieval knight's helmet over here, and on the workbench, our armourer has just finished this awesome ceremonial horned helmet. Whoever's ordered this helmet is definitely going to be pleased with our armourer's work. And I of course had to hang some more shields up throughout the building, with some of my own original designs, as well as an upgraded version of Minecraft's original shield, and even a little reference to Zelda, since this shield design is so iconic, and as you guys know, I just love including references like this throughout my builds. So with this building done, there is still tons more to do, let's get back to it. Right, so I think it's safe to say this is looking pretty realistic. The original fountain was way too clunky, so I went for this classic tiered fountain design to make it feel much more real. I even added these tiny water splashes, so it really looks like this fountain has some movement. And of course, just like the original, I built this shiny new bell, which I animated as well. In the next part, I plan to add way more animated and functioning details like this to the rest of the village. So with those epic upgrades finished, we still have a long way to go. We've got to transform an entire market, stables, butcher, library, weaponsmith, temple, and more. Plus, there are tons of special editions and decorations I want to add to really make this the most insanely detailed Minecraft village possible. This village is going to be packed to the brim with details to discover. This was just a start. So, remember to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see me finish this insanely detailed village in part 2, and then I'll release the download on my Patreon. Comment below which structures you'd like to see me transform in insane detail next. I've already got tons in store for this year, including brand new survival maps, and we may even see the start of the Ultimate Survival World 2. That's all for now, guys, so I'll see you in the next one. Before I head off, I just want to say an absolutely massive thank you to these amazing people. Without you guys supporting us, we wouldn't be able to make content like this. Remember, if you'd like to support us and get a feature in a future videos leaderboard, you can check out the Netherite tier on my Patreon. You can even submit a build for me to showcase in the video with your name by sending it through our exclusive Netherite Discord channel. Anyway, thank you so much again, guys. The support has been unreal lately, and of course, we're incredibly grateful. We are throwing everything right back into making the best content for you. Anyway, catch you guys soon.